So I want to bring awareness to a disease that I have been fighting for over 20 years. And the disease is called Pseudo Tumor Cerebri. It is a false tumor on the brain. It ultimately can cause blindness and a lot of other medical problems. I was diagnosed back in 1993. And back then they did not know too much about this disease. When I was hospitalized, they had to go and get books and literature, like literally Google literature about this disease, because the doctors didn't really know too much about it. And I really feel like to this day is not too much more that they know. But I've been fighting this disease for over 20 something years, and what prompted me to talk to you guys about it is my son made a song about it. I was not aware that he was paying that much attention to me back then, to everything that I was going through. But when he came out with the song, that was like a surprise to me, and that let me know that he was paying attention. It's the Sorry Mama song. So you guys may want to roll that and look that song up and listen to it. But to move forward, I'm talking to you guys about this to bring awareness to this disease, Pseudo Tumor Cerebri. And I was diagnosed back in 1993. At the time, Kiana and Keenan were born. Cameron wasn't born yet. I was working at McDonald's. I was working and I was having real bad headaches in the back of my head. And I went to the doctor numerous times, and they told me, they thought it was a sinus infection, so they was treating me for a sinus infection. So I would go home, taking the medication, and the headaches was getting worse. I spoke to my aunt. She was a doctor. She was a doctor's assistant at Martin Luther King Hospital at the time. And I called her because the symptoms were getting so bad, like the blurred vision, the headaches. It was just really bad. I was just trying to figure out what was going on with me, because I felt like it was something more than just a sinus infection. She asked a couple of doctors that she worked with, and they told me to tell my doctors to have me checked for meningitis. So she kind of told me a little bit about meningitis, and that just scared me a little more. So, but I did go back and ask my doctor about being checked for meningitis. I can't remember what happened, what they did when I spoke on meningitis, but a couple of days had passed. I had a doctor's appointment already set. And one day when I woke up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and I couldn't see. And at the time I was married to my kid's father, and I told him to turn on the light. I'm like, I can't see, turn on the light. And he was like, what you mean you can't see? I'm like, I can't see. So after really realizing that I couldn't see, he rushed me to the emergency room. And the nurse that took care of me in the emergency room, when she started asking me all the different questions, they got my chart, they seen I was coming in back and forth. I had been in probably for like a month. I had been coming back and forth for this sinus infection and was being treated for a sinus infection. So the doctor ordered her to do a spinal tap. And a spinal tap, if you guys don't know what that is, that's similar to having an epidural when you have a baby and they kind of put a tube to numb you, that's kind of like what a spinal tap is. They go in to the lower part of your back and take fluid. So when the nurse did the spinal tap, it was just me and the nurse in the room. She did the spinal tap. She started screaming And I felt like fluid just running all down my back, my legs and everything. So she was screaming, fluid was going everywhere. So I knew then it was something much more than, it wasn't a sinus infection. It was something else going on with me. And mind you, I'm blind at this time, couldn't see. Totally blind. So the doctors and the other nurses came running in, and at this time, they just started like rushing me. I think my mind kind of goes blank because I think they hurried up and like sedated me and was trying to figure out what was going on. This is when my family comes in and tells me that what was really going on with me, as I had numerous operations, surgery, eye surgery, spine surgery. I was being transferred from different hospitals. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the hospital, but it's one of the biggest hospitals in California. I felt like they did an excellent job, is just trying to diagnose me, going through, trying to figure out what was wrong with me was a long process. And with that being a long process, it caused me to have vision loss. So as I sit before you, I'm legally blind, and I've been legally blind for over 20 years. And right now to this day, I'm still fighting this disease. I thought I was the only one in the world that was fighting this disease. I was up one night and watching like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and something came across the television about if you were diagnosed with pseudo tumor cerebri and you were taking birth control pills, please call this attorney or something. It was like a class action lawsuit going on. And I just couldn't believe it. Like, I stood up in the bed and was like, what? That was the first time that I ever heard anybody mention pseudo tumor cerebri. I had never heard, and this was literally a couple of years ago when I first heard this. So let me take a drink. This is hard for me to talk about. So when I heard this on TV, I started kind of doing research, because before I didn't really care to research it. I just thought it was me and the doctors, and I knew the different things that I was going through dealing with. I kind of felt I just needed to keep it inside. And then with my son making this song, I'm like, okay, he's kind of putting it out there, what I went through a little bit. But I still kind of felt like I was by myself going through this, and I just didn't want to talk about it. Just starting my own nonprofit and really being the type of person that likes to help and wanting to help people, I felt like if I'm gonna help anybody, anywhere, the first place that I needed to start was with pseudo tumor cerebri, because that's something that I'm personally fighting to this day. So I feel like right now I'm just trying to bring as much awareness to this disease, try to find out as much about it as I possibly can, try to find out who else is fighting this disease, how many other people in this world is going through or have been through. I'm still going through it. It's like once you get this disease, it doesn't go away. Like, it's things that you have to do to take care of yourself to make sure the disease stays lying dormant. And the first thing it talks about is the birth control, being on birth control. And we all know that some birth control pills make you gain weight. And back then I was taking birth control pills. We were trying to we wanted our kids like 4 years apart. So we were trying to make sure we had our kids 4 years apart and trying to do it, planned pregnancy. And so I was on birth control pills at the time. I weighed over 200 pounds at the time that I was diagnosed. I'm thinking at the time, you know, I look much bigger than I am now, but I'm thinking back then the weight, it didn't look bad on me. So I'm just thinking, you know, birth control pills, okay, I'm overeating, I'm eating a little bit, it's water retention, not thinking it had anything to do with my brain or I was retaining fluid. I didn't think I wasn't even thinking like that. You know, I was in my 20s. You know, I'm just thinking I'm just gaining weight eating these birth control pills like we do today. So ladies, this is for young women, teenagers, whatever kind of birth control pills you are taking, please do your research. I can't tell you not to take birth control pills, but please do your research. Birth control pills was not something that I should have taken. It wasn't good for me, for my body, because this is what ultimately caused me to develop pseudotumor cerebri. So they immediately, when I was diagnosed, they immediately took me off of birth control pills. And I mean, when they took me off, I'm going through all this, being blind, the surgeries, all these different things that I'm going through. I end up getting pregnant. They didn't want me to keep the baby because we all know when you get pregnant, you gain weight. So here I go again. They was trying to I had to make sure, and they were doing everything to tell me I needed to lose weight. They had me on Diamox. I was on all different type of medication, trying to release fluid from my body, from my brain, trying to just get my weight down. That was the biggest thing. Of course, that's nothing that you can do really fast. So that's where the surgeries came. And I had to have a surgery where they went into my optic nerve and relieved pressure and fluid from there. If you look real close, it didn't heal up, but I have a cut right on this side of my eye. And they went and I had a shunt placed. A shunt is like a skinny tube, look like a spaghetti noodle or something. They put it there and it constantly drains the fluid from your brain down into your, I guess it was coming around like into my urinary tract, and I would pee the fluid out. And then I was on medication. So that's what they did. That's what they did immediately. The weight wasn't coming off as fast as they wanted it. So I had to have a weight loss surgery, which I had the lap band. And back then all this stuff was just coming about. The lap band, it's several different surgeries, but I had the lap band. They told me they didn't know which one that really I was fit for. So we chose the lap band because the lap band is like 50% you and 50% the band. So they made me lose like 20 pounds on my own. They had to make sure I was able to lose some weight on my own. And I had the lap band surgery, lost weight. I did really well with the lap band surgery. I still have the lap band. Like I said, I'm still fighting this disease. This is not something that you get and there's a cure or something. I'm legally blind. I'm blind in the right eye and I have tunnel vision in the left eye. And this is so hard for me. I know I kind of sound scattered. I'm gonna be a little scattered because I'm going way back and I'm trying to remember things as they happened. And it's kind of hard. For a long time, I just wanted to put this out of my head because it was really a sad thing. I had to, when I lost my vision, when I came home from the hospital, I was completely blind. They told my mom I was never gonna be able to see again. They sent the Braille people to my house. I learned Braille. Like, it was really serious. Like, they said I was never gonna see again. I had so much damage to my optic nerve to where they just didn't, even with the surgeries and the things that they did, the medications, they didn't think it was gonna be good enough to bring my sight back. So, but I have a praying mother. So my mother was like, she wasn't listening to the doctors. She was like, my baby's gonna see. And I did have some praying doctors too. They was praying with us. I do remember that before I went into surgeries. I remember them praying over me before I went into surgery. So prayer does work, because I'm standing here before you guys and I may be legally blind, but I have not let this disease stop me from doing anything that I've ever wanted to do in my lifetime. I'm 52. I was diagnosed when I was in my 20s, and I have been able to, it was either, Shanae, you sit home, you learn Braille, and you just feel sorry for yourself. You have 2 kids. You just feel sorry for yourself when you just let this disease take your life. Or Shanae, you get up, you throw all that Braille stuff away, and you learn how to function without the Braille, without the cane. They brought me a cane, without all that, and you learn how to function regularly. My sight was coming back as I was believing more, and more. My mother was praying, and I was doing what the doctors told me to do and taking the medication. Like, I was doing everything, probably an extra, to help with my vision. Whatever, I might have been taking some herbs, and I don't know if I ever did the herbal route. I can't remember, but I was doing things because I was really trying to fight. I'm like, I chose to fight this disease and not let this disease get me. So I fought. And like I said, with my vision being what it is today, I've been able to do everything and live 95% normal. 95% normal. Most of the people that know me, if you're not a family member or a close friend, you don't even know that I'm legally blind. You can spend a whole day with me and you wouldn't even know that I'm legally blind. Like, I can see better than some of the people that are close to me. Just because you're legally blind doesn't mean you can't drive, you can't cook, you can't run your own business, you can't be a mother, a good mother. You can't. I've done everything that I've set out to do in my life. I haven't missed a beat. And I just want to let anybody know who's fighting this. I want them to contact me at nenezway.org. Get the number, contact me, because I'm looking to interview people. I want to really bring awareness to this disease, because I personally want to know, like, I need to find out, why does this happen, more than it's just the weight thing or it's just the birth control thing. Like, birth control, some of us have to take birth control. So if we are one of those who have to take birth controls, how can we keep from getting this disease? If we are obese, or we do gain 20, 30, 40 pounds when we're on birth control pills, how can we keep from getting this disease? Because this is not something that I would want to see other people go through. I had a rough time. Thank God I had my family and my friends around me, supporting me, helping me. You know, I went through a lot. I'm still fighting this disease. I'm still, to this day, I have to have surgery because of this disease. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. My weight, I'm on a healthy kick. I'm healthy, fit, trying to stay fit, trying to do everything I can do because of this disease. I have to continue to do the necessary things that I need to do to take care of myself, because I know I'm fighting pseudo tumor cerebri. Again, pseudo tumor cerebri. If there's any way that I can be of support to anyone out there, I would like to do that. But most of all, I want to bring awareness, and I want to find help for not only you guys, but for myself as well. Because like I said, I'm still fighting this. I have a surgery that's scheduled for October 8th. I've already pushed it back once, and I'll probably push it back again. But it's like this, when you have this disease and you have one surgery, and then you have to have another surgery, and then you have to have another surgery and another surgery, it seems like it just don't stop. And I'm 52. I don't want to keep getting cut on, so I have to kind of start asking myself, okay, what's more important? I have to really start looking into this disease and looking into these surgeries and different things. Like, do I really have to have this surgery right now? If I just can continue to stay healthy and work out and keep my weight down and, do the herbs. I'm doing the herb. I'm taking the herb. I'm doing everything herbs. I'm taking herbs. I'm trying to pull myself off of all of my medication. I recently just started having seizures again. That's one thing. Another thing about the pseudotumor cerebri, throughout the complications and over the years, the complications, it started me to having seizures. I've never had seizures in my life. So I'm on medication for seizures. It's just one thing after another. So, this is hard. But like I said, in all this, I'm saying this because I want to bring awareness to this with my son's support, since he made a Sorry Mama song. So he literally put it out there. So I felt compelled at some point to tell my story. And I didn't know how I was going to tell it, whether it was through a documentary, whether it was through a book. I didn't know how I was going to tell it, but God put it in my heart to start my own nonprofit and to tell my story through my nonprofit. So that's what I'm doing. And I just want you guys to really be aware of the different type of diseases that's out there. But the disease that I'm fighting is pseudotumor cerebri. And I want to bring awareness to that. And stay tuned for part 2, because I'm still fighting it. I still have to have surgery. I have a long, probably 4-hour appointment with the eye doctor next month. And I'm gonna see where my vision is. After you turn a certain age, we know our vision starts bothering us anyway. So I'm dealing with pseudotumor cerebri vision, and I'm dealing with the over 40 vision. So my vision, thank God. I can see enough. I'm doing what I need to do. I have to be very careful. I have to look both ways. I have to look up and down, side to side. I have to take extra precaution and extra measures, especially when I'm doing things alone. But I'm blessed to be able to see, because the doctor said that I would never be able to see again. So, like I said, stay tuned, because it will be a part 2 to this, because I still have to have surgery. And I'm praying, I don't know when that's gonna happen, when I'm gonna decide to let them go in and fix the things that need to be fixed now. But everybody just stay healthy. Try to stay healthy, eat healthy. If you're taking birth control pills, just try to do as much research. It's so many different kinds of contraceptives out there. And if you can avoid taking pills or letting them put the IUD, if you can avoid that, the chemical part, if you can avoid it, maybe using a condom. There's nothing wrong with using a condom. But if you can avoid the chemical part and putting that in your body, I would tell you to try to go that route and do it, because this disease is nothing to play with. Like I said, I thought I was alone until I heard it on TV. And I put a little something out on my Instagram and people started DMing me about it. And I laid on my couch and cried because I couldn't believe it. I'm like, people were sharing their stories with me and I'm like, this is the same thing that I went through. This is the exact same thing. Like, I couldn't believe it. So I'm gonna be speaking about this a lot. I need to know more about it. I'm still fighting it, and I want to help you guys. Who's ever fighting it, who's ever, I need to help. I need to know. I want us to get together and try to figure this out. Thank you. Stay tuned for part 2.